Good morning, everyone. My name is Christine, and the teaching occupation that I will be covering today is cooking. The reason I chose cooking is I come from a family that loves to eat and get together for any and every occasion. Even if there is none, there's always someone in my house or I'm at someone's house, and there's always something being cooked. So I grew up with a lot of food being made around me, and also, once I decided to take charge of my health and my life and cook healthy meals on my own, it changed my life for the better. Um, the one thing about cooking that I think is so great is that it can bring everyone together. So, cooking can be both identified as an activity of daily living and also as an instrumental activity of daily living, according to the occupational therapy practice framework. And although cooking is an occupation within itself, it does go hand in hand with many other important activities. So the actual act of cooking, washing dishes as you go, putting the foods that you didn't use back into the refrigerator or pantry, wherever you got them from, those all fall under meal preparation and cleanup, which are ADLs. The fun part, which is the eating, falls under the IADLs, and also swallowing/eating, which are ADLs. When you're actually choosing which ingredients you're going to be working with while cooking, you're actually using some cognitive skills. So this morning I'll be making a vegetable omelet. So when I decided to use my eggs, my tomato, my green chili pepper, and my onion, I was using some cognitive skills. When I actually start to crack open the egg and cut my vegetables and peppers and everything, I'll be using coordination and strength/effort skills, which are motor skills. Although everything I mentioned to this point sounds pretty easy to do and not hard to work with and around, restricted access and different environments can play a very big role in this occupation. When I was observing at the inpatient facility at the hospital, there was a little therapy room that they had. Not a little, they had a therapy room made for the patients. And along with observing the patients with the therapist I was shadowing, I did see other patients with different diagnoses being worked with. One of the patients I saw was an elderly woman, not sure what her diagnosis was, but she was working in the kitchen area of the room. And her therapist was teaching her how to bend properly into the refrigerator and get the vegetables she needed for the dish she was going to be cooking. This patient also had difficulty standing for longer periods of time, so she did have a wheelchair as well. And her therapist showed her how to maneuver around the kitchen. Along with helping the patient maneuver around the kitchen in her wheelchair, she also showed her safe and effective ways to stand up using a sturdy counter in the kitchen when getting up. So what I'm getting at with all of this is, depending on what you need, occupational therapy can help you get there. If you have a goal, for instance, this woman really enjoyed cooking, and so one of her main goals was to get back into the kitchen and cooking as if she never had any issues. But a lot of things do play a part in that. You have to keep in mind, how easy is it to get in and out of the kitchen? You also have to worry about how high up the counters are. If you are in a wheelchair, can you actually use the stove and not be in harm's way? So all these things do play a role, and occupational therapy can help you find a way around it. So keeping all these things in mind, I'm going to go ahead and continue with my cooking process and show you guys my finished product when I make breakfast for my little sister, who's actually recording me. Thanks, Sid.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I just wanted to say again, cooking is something that I do almost on a daily basis, so this is why I picked it. I really enjoy it, and I do know that in the future, if ever I am limited and I have any issues with cooking, I can look into occupational therapy and find a way around it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video so far. I'm going to start cooking, and hopefully it'll look appetizing when I'm done.